This is Ryan.
And this is Michael. Welcome to AllDay Unpacked.
Today we are going to be talking about the challenge and kind of our thoughts now that we've been through the challenge, we've collected the moments, we've gotten the airdrop and all that good stuff, and we've been through it, and now we're going to kind of just lay it all out and say what we think. So I'm going to drop that on you, Mike, so why don't you go ahead and tell the people what you think.
Yeah, so, I thought it was a decent challenge. I thought it was unexpected, right? A lot of people, including myself, thought it was going to be around moment burning, but then they said explicitly, okay, it's not going to be moment burning. And so then I think a lot of people thought it was going to be something with low dollar moments or something, so people started collecting those. And turns out, no.
We were way off.
Not at all.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, we're 0 for on guessing what the challenges are going to be. We're 0 for 3.
It's kind of hard to actually pick what it's going to be because, it really just feels like it's, in a way they're doing a good job of just making it something very random and we just don't know what it's going to be. So I guess, much credit to them. Big Ticket 49 didn't seem to know what was going on this time either. So it's, they fooled everybody. And so for them, I feel like they did a good job this time. I felt like it went smooth. There was no major hiccups. Nobody likes to buy a Drew Lock for $18, but hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. What did you find? I know that you did the rare challenge. I didn't complete the rare challenge, as you can see in one of our other videos. I'm wearing the bag of shame, but what did you tell us how you did? You pulled together the rare pack.
Yeah, so I already had Matt Ryan and I already had AJ Brown. So
okay.
all I had to do was just go out and quickly buy a Bryan Edwards.
Really?
And he wound up being the least expensive rare to complete it anyway. So I just grabbed one of those right away and just called it a day and thought, worst case is, I wound up pulling a New England's rare, so it wound up being kind of a wash for me. So no complaints.
Got it. And then obviously, I was going to say that, in mine, I had AJ Brown and I had, who was it?
The rare or the common?
The common. I couldn't pull the rare. I had none of the rares. So in the commons, I had AJ Brown and I had, what's the guy from the Dolphins? Devontae Parker. I had Parker and I had Brown. Yep. And then I actually had to go out and buy a Drew Lock, which, for $18, I figured, for a pack, it was probably worth it. So they got me on that. Yeah. So I spent the $18, but then, what I got out of the pack was probably worth it. So, at the end of the day, it wasn't anything great, but at the same time, it's like, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. And so I actually had the 3 moments. I had a Carson Wentz, and then I had an AJ Brown and a Devontae Parker already. So I already had the first tier. So for me, it was, to pay the whatever, it was like about $100 to get Edwards. So for the $100, it was worth getting the rare pack. And I know I was already guaranteed the common pack, but it felt like a good payout for $100. So
right.
No complaints really or whatever. But again, you think about it. You paid $20 for a Drew Lock. You normally pay $50 or $60 for a normal pack anyway. So it feels like, it feels like it's a win. And it wasn't so hard to complete this challenge. I feel like especially the first level, I feel like anybody could have easily completed that challenge.
Sure. What I'm kind of learning, and it's like I'm reading some of the comments along the way, and it's like a lot of people are just straight up selling their moments. But I feel like if you have some of these moments already, then it makes sense to do it. Now, if you don't have any of them, it doesn't make financial sense to go out and try and buy all 3 of them. But if you're hanging on to at least 2 of them, then it just makes sense to just pick up that third. And I think at this point, a lot of people in the game have enough moments where I feel like that's pretty doable for most people.
Yeah, and in full transparency, I actually had 2 Matt Ryan rares, and I took one of them, sold it at the height, and then I just bought it back the other. I bought, not the exact same one, but I bought one back the other day, and actually wound up getting I got a lower cereal for a lower price. So, it wound up being a great way to have that, keep that second, Matt Ryan, and make a few bucks in the process.
Right, and kind of in the same situation, it's like with me with my common pack. I just, I ended up having multiples of some of the Devontae Parkers and things like that. So I was able to sell those and kind of recoup the cost. So Yeah, I paid $18 for Drew Lock, but in a sense, I just swapped one for the other, so it wasn't bad.
Right.
It wasn't that bad. So, yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think all in all, it's like if you're, they did a good job with this challenge of rewarding collectors. So it's like if you're just a casual person that only holds like 5 or 6, you're not gonna, it's gonna be hard to complete challenges. But if you're out there and collecting most of the base set, and a lot of the $4, $5, $6 commons, you were in a good position to complete this challenge. So it feels like, it wasn't, even when the price is all jacked up, it was still, what, $50-$60 to get the, those bottom 3, like a Noah Fant, to get a Drew Lock, who was like a $4 or $5 player before. So like, again, these were like guys that you could have easily got before and just already had and collected and completed that first level of the challenge.
Right. And I'm just, and I want to just beg NFL AllDay to please do something with the team melts, the team moments. It's like, I mean, we've done a lot of the players. Let's do something with the team ones or something. Let's, I want to see them change it up a little bit, whether it be like just all rookies or something. I want to see something a little bit different. I think they've done a fantastic job, but I want to see them kind of branch out into something kind of new. And I feel like the team ones would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I have a thought on the team moments. This is kind of what I think they're going to do is like, think about this, like week 1 of the NFL, right? So here's a perfect challenge for them to do. It's week 1. You have to basically slot in 3 team moments for teams that are going to win that weekend. And if you correctly slot in the 3 team moments of teams that win that weekend, you get a pack. And if you get 5, you get a rare pack or something. I mean, something like that, I could see like that would be a lot of fun because it's then, like not only are they engaging people on like that NFT front, but they're also doing it on the kind of watch the game front because it's almost like a little bit like you got a little something on the line there. So
yes, I agree. I like it. Yeah, that I hope to see that. And again, I know that when things get going here and the season starts to take off, man, I just can't wait to see that the in-game action actually makes the prices just fluctuate on these guys. I mean, you can just see it when the challenge starts, how the price fluctuates, but I just know when these games, like I think of Zach Wilson. I don't know why he's my guy, but I feel like Zach Wilson, like if he starts off like doing well, he's at $48, I could just see him like having like, 5 touchdowns week 1 and everybody just like, oh shit, we got to get Zach Wilson, and this price just like going right up.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that everybody's looking at to take a leap. So I think that brings up a good point talking about price fluctuation. So, you and I have talked a lot about like the pricing and such, and we knew that the market would dip into June and then, possibly like kind of early July. And I think we thought maybe it would go down a lot, not a lot, but, significantly more just because of stock market's down, crypto market's down, NFTs are down, we're heading into a recession. But all in all, things are holding value pretty well, and we're almost to training camp. I mean, we're less. What are we, about a month away from training camp?
Yeah, we're getting close. So, I mean, things have held extremely well. Keep your fingers crossed. So I don't know how it's going to go, but I mean, I look at it like this. It's like if things go well going into the season, then everything's going to go right. But if things don't go right going into the season, well, then I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the other thing too,
it could be a shipwreck. Yeah.
Well, Top Shot's getting crushed. I mean, Top Shot's losing value like crazy, and it just hasn't seemed. And I'm just curious. It's like, is it a different audience? Is it a different crowd that's that bought Top Shot versus the ones that bought the AllDay? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea, but it's.
I just feel like it's
it
the
seems
fan.
like AllDay somehow is just kind of holding on. Yeah.
I feel like, and we've talked about this maybe before, but I feel like in the NBA there's this top shelf of players, and everybody's about those players. But in the NFL, I feel like, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like it's people like fantasy, but it's more team oriented, and people cheer for teams, and I feel like that gives some of these guys that maybe they're not the guys that should be going to $1 or staying at $4, because it's like, like a guy like me, I like the Jaguars, so I buy Logan Cook. So things of that nature where it's like normally maybe you wouldn't pick those guys up. I don't feel like there's guys that are, or guys or gals that are that into teams, where in the NFL I feel like people are more about their team.
I mean, yeah, the NFL, like football is definitely a sport where it's harder for one person to dominate a field because there's 22 people out there versus 10 on a basketball court. So yeah, the team aspect thing is absolutely correct. It's just
right.
It'll be interesting to see too because it's a newer product. I'm very curious to see how it plays out over this kind of this next month and then into training camp and then preseason.
Right.
So it'll be interesting.
And I feel like the NFL AllDay has done a good job of keeping the challenges coming because really what they had to do is they had to keep the challenges coming through the summer. Otherwise, this thing would have died. So I feel like that's been huge. And I'm sure they're going to keep coming with it every couple weeks here to keep us going all the way until we get to the season. Because, I mean, if they don't, I could see it taking a huge dip in July.
Yeah. Well, and I thought I'm not sure about this, but I believe I have read, or we actually, someone told us in the comments that there's still 2 more historical drops that are going to happen before the season starts, and then on top of that,
I haven't seen that one. Okay.
What's that?
I hadn't seen that one. No.
Yeah, it was one of the comments that we got, so I'll be curious to see if that's wind up being the case because I mean, you think about it, there's only a few weeks left before preseason starts. It's going to be hard to do a historical drop when people are getting excited for the regular players, playing and getting excitement around players that are gone now. It might be a little hard to generate that excitement. So I'll be definitely interested.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle that going forward.
Right. And do you think that they're going to do a week 1, week 2? Do you think every week there'll be moments? Have they said anything about that? Like how they're going to kind of play this out? Because obviously there's going to be great moments from each week, but are they going to do a pack every week?
I mean, that's what they did last season, right? They started in week 13, I think, and there was a pack for every season or every week of that season, including the playoff weeks. So, I feel like that's what's going to happen, and so, hopefully they just keep the sets of those weeks limited, right? So it's not like there's
that's
only
kind of what I'm thinking.
Maybe a handful, 10, 12, 15. I don't know. I mean, you'd have to do the math on it, but that there's only a certain number of moments each week, so you don't just get blasted with all these moments every week where people can't keep up with that. Right.
And I think, come on, give us some love. We got to get some more offensive linemen. We got to get some other players involved from time to time. And, I feel like getting some of those guys and maybe keeping them at 4,000, keep the amount low, but let's get more of a variety of players. That way, I think I'd much rather have more players kind of flooding the market at low amounts than having one player in 10,000 of that one player and that flooding the market.
Yeah, so I wonder if they'll, Top Shot made the mistake of they had limited numbers season 1, and then season 2 they just had a ton more moments. I mean, there's moments out there that have 50 or 60,000, I think. And so
that's too much. That's too much.
Way too much. It's what killed it, right? And so I'll be really curious to see now going into the second season. What where do they limit the is it capped at 10,000 again, or do they even lower it from there?
Right. Well, I mean, the thing that football has over the NBA, or the NFL has over the NBA, is that the amount of players on the field. I mean, it's like if you got 5 guys, how many Steph Currys can you make? It's like you can only make so many guys on the team. With the NFL, you can. I mean, that's the beauty of the NFL is you've just got that many players that you can work from. And there's just always, I go back to the Bradbury moment from the Vikings. You take a moment like that, something awesome happens every single week in football. You can always pull from a player that never has a moment. You could take an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman that doesn't have anything, and that could be a debut that could come out to kind of boost things up. So there's always something to pull from. Where the NBA, I felt like it just got recycled and rehashed, and again with 80 games there's just so many moments that you can pull from, so it's just, and to me, I mean, again, there's going to be NBA fans that would say something different, but it's just the moments kind of start to look the same. It looks like the stadiums look different, but it's always an indoor stadium,
right?
It's there's no snow, there's no rain, there's no nothing, there's no different element to it, so it always looks the same. There's just doesn't have the feel to it.
And when you think about basketball, there's 5 guys, right? They play offense and defense. Right. So it's 5 guys that you have, and not all 5 of them are going to be studs. Where when you have a team of 22 players, it's like you've got multiple guys on that team that are going to be interesting. So it's
yes,
there's just so many more players to pick from. It
Right.
feels like it just makes more sense. But I mean, again, we're biased, right? Like we're like I like basketball, all right, but I'm not going to go out. It's like that's not where my heart's at. My heart's in the NFL and football and these moments and watching this stuff. So there's
Yep.
basketball certainly has a bigger international audience, right? There's people all over the world
Agreed.
that watch the NBA versus the NFL. I mean, it has some international audience, but not. I don't feel like it does like the NBA does.
right. But I think there's enough love here that 10,000 moments of a player should be sufficient. I mean, there's enough love to go around. They don't need. I mean, think of Top Shot. It's not tanking, but it's not doing well right now, and they've got all that international love. So I mean, if the NFL takes off, that just means that maybe their fan base just isn't rabid enough, or maybe they're just not interested enough in NFTs. I don't know.
I mean, it's funny because it's like you think about these moments, and if this just even takes off a little bit, I mean, you think about like some of these moments. Like again, I'll go back to like Micah Parsons. There's only 699 of his rookie moments of his first mint. That's nothing.
Right.
I mean, the amount of people who like football and who are collecting football cards or moments or memorabilia or whatever, it's so vast.
Right.
So if a few more people, if it does, even if the online user base just doubled, I mean, imagine what that would do to the marketplace. I mean, that would, things would definitely pick up. So it's really just boils down to whether or not it catches on a little bit more than what it has already. And if it does, then, it could really take off fast.
They got to advertise. They got to advertise. I mean, it's still in beta. If they get this thing like on, you're watching games on Sundays, they start pushing this thing out there. I feel like it could really start to take off. But they got to push it.
It's like if they could make this an app on your phone where you could literally just self-contained buy it on the app. The only problem with that is that they have to then the app stores are all going to take a cut. So that's a bit of a tricky proposition for them. So that won't happen. But again, if they can just get people to, again, like you said, there's an ad they ran on NFL.com. So they just need to start doing more of that.
Sure.
Hopefully it's getting to a place where it's, solid enough that they feel like they can open it up to a wide audience and not scare anybody away with problems. So we'll see. But I mean,
And a wild idea I have, and I hope they take advantage of this, is I feel like kids. I feel like there's kids that collect football cards. I feel like there's a whole, again, kids are the future of what's going to happen. You get the kids interested, this is going to carry on. If you get a bunch of adults interested, that's great, but you got to get the younger generation interested in this too, so they can push it forward. And I feel like kids are still collecting football cards, but if you somehow could open this up to I don't know, maybe they can make it 12 and above, 10 or above. I don't know what they can do, but I'd like to see kids would go nuts over this. I mean, I'm around enough kids that are into football. Man, if you could get these kids involved, I mean, it's not even for just for the commons, just having a Justin Herbert, a common for $23. I feel like kids could start showing this off to each other and really just multiply the not the business, but the love for it. I mean, if kids support things, if they get into it, I don't want to go too far here, but you look at Pokemon cards and just the love that gets. I mean, you get a bunch of kids involved in this, and man, they're just going to push this thing upstream.
Yeah, and I think that there's probably that fine line of making things affordable and then making them too cheap where the collectors walk away, because think about it, everybody's panicking in Top Shot for $1 moments, but that's what kids could afford, right? $1 moments would be what kids would be able to pay for. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
You put more asses in the seats.
Yeah.
I feel like you put more asses in the seats, they start to clean up on these 10,000 moments, and it's instead of maybe burning them, kids collect them, and it's they've got them and they're involved, and then maybe they get a rare here and there, but it's that's how you, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
the
feel
only
like that's how
problem
you
though
push
is all
it
these
forward.
challenges. I don't think kids could participate in the challenges, so I think we get a little dicey there at that. For anybody under 18, it would become an issue. So
Right,
certain
but again,
states.
that's something that's going to have. Maybe you can't do challenges with kids, but again, at the same time, it's just
Yeah, but how do you
gotta
stop
find
that?
a
How do
way.
you regulate kids from doing? Like, what are you gonna? Like, how do you ID check and all that stuff? So, I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, why couldn't a kid do a challenge for like another moment?
Just because
Like,
I think
if they've
certain
got-
states, oh gosh, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
We'd have to
so
get into
it's-
the legalities of it, but I guess, yeah.
But
Right.
a lot of contests,
And again,
you think
maybe
about when
it's
you see contests, it's like 18 and up, 18 and up, 18 and up. So I feel like there's
Sure,
going to be some
but I
states
think, like,
where
So, like, and we're getting way off the rails here, but I'm just saying, like, like maybe a parent has to sign a kid up or something like that. And it's just like, you think of like anything that you do on the internet. If a kid wants to make a purchase of like a online item or something like that, I feel like, I mean, I get the gambling aspect of it. You don't want kids gambling or anything like that. But again, you have to say, like, the NFL is like a family thing. If you want to get the true core of the NFL fan base, you've got to bring everybody. So again, instead of just getting a section, anyway, just a personal thought.
All right. Well, I think we've gone on long enough for folks. We've probably wrapped this thing up, and
Yep.
yeah. So we'll see you all next time on the next All Day Unpacked. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share us with people, please. And we'll see you next time.